This week in Geeks of Nexus, Epic Geeks join the 300, Runes get a price cut, double up on power, prestige and PvP. We venture down the Jabbithole to help the Wildstar Community and the Draken prepare for battle in this week's lore segment. All that and so much more in this week's episode of Geeks of Nexus.
A world forged in conflict, claimed as homeland by the exiles, conquered as territory by the Dominion. There is only one whose words we can trust. Geeks of Nexus.
And welcome to Geeks of Nexus. This is episode number 21 for Monday the 13th of October 2015. My name is Draycass and I have two new hosts with me today. One of them you already know, because he was with me last week. He's maybe a bit more regular. Welcome, Akasauruso Rex.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here.
And on the other side, some of you Wildstar players should know this lady. The Wildstar content creator extraordinaire, Jazzy.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Jazzy. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. Full belly. Lunch was great.
Oh yes, you went out, didn't you?
There.
You've just been out for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
So don't fall asleep. A lot of people fall asleep straight after lunch, so...
I might.
Yeah.
Watch out.
So Aka, we didn't... last week, we didn't get a chance to really chat to you too much about what you've done previously. But seeing as it's likely you're going to be a new regular host of the show, why don't you give a little bit of an introduction about yourself and tell everybody a little bit about you?
Just a little bit?
Yeah, not too much.
I know, I know. I've got a big mouth. I'm like a natural born professor, so I really gotta like shrink it down. Yes. Well, I guess gaming wise, or just like person wise.
Okay, whatever you want to tell them.
Okay.
Not too personal though.
I'm a proud fourth generation Japanese Canadian eccentric creature. Yeah, I got lots of crazy things to tell. I've been following games for a while now, and I'm into cosplay. I'm into all kinds of geeky, crazy things. I like to sculpt, draw, do yoga, wear suits and bow ties, and talk with people on the internet.
For those people
I'm
who are not watching on the video stream on YouTube, you're missing out on Aka's fancy outfit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna sneeze. I nearly sneezed at the beginning of the podcast. It's nearly come out. It's not gonna come out. I promise it won't come out. Thank you, Aka. And Jazzy, for those people that don't know you, give us a little bit about yourself.
I've done a lot of stuff in the Wildstar community itself over the past, probably going on a year and a half now. At the beginning, I had a podcast called This Week in Wildstar. Did various videos on different things, add-ons, guides, whatever, previews, things like that. Currently, I'm doing kind of a mini podcast, more like a community show where I bring someone on, anybody from the community that wants to come talk, and we chat for half an hour about current goings on. It's called Nexus Now, so it's kind of fun. And then also recently started doing a website that is Wildstar centric that we'll talk about more later. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's pretty much a lot of what I do is video content and podcasting, sometimes streaming.
Oh, it's exciting times, isn't it, for everybody? All these new things happening. We should talk about it. Yes.
Dre, can I just plug my little thing, which is why I didn't think about that.
Go for it.
When you tell us about yourself, minding me, I think, all of the adventures, climbing barefoot in Ireland. But then I thought, no, wait a minute, I need to. That's actually true. I climbed barefoot up a mountain in Ireland.
Okay.
Oh, so much fun. I look like a hobbit. It's great. I look so happy. But anyways, Yeah, I'm starting a little Wildstar show. I've got one episode so far. It's just called The Draken's Den, and basically it's just gonna be my little show that I spout things out about, and I'll probably upload a new one tomorrow, I think. So
The Draken's Den. Good
Fantastic.
name. I like that name.
thank you.
Yes.
So we're going to explain really why we have two hosts. Sparky has decided to leave us. He has his own little projects he needs to go off and do with his voice acting. He wants to go and do it full time. So he's off doing wonderful, amazing things, and we wish him all the best.
Wow, congratulations.
For his endeavours. So that left me again on my own. But I have these two wonderful people who decided to join me. So Jazzy...
We came to the rescue.
came to the rescue, Jazzy and Akasaurusto. Thank you very much for deciding to be the new host of Geeks of Nexus. And we have some exciting news today, because for the first time in Epic Geeks podcast, Geeks of Nexus went into the top 300 of the iTunes video games podcast chart.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I don't really know how it works and how long we'll stay there, because it's kind of moving about. We were 271 last night, and when I woke up we were 245, and now we're 251.
Hey.
So it moves about a lot, but you know, it's exciting. It's exciting
The
for me.
masses are fickle. Yes,
I don't know
Accomplishments.
how iTunes work it, but let's see if we can get. I'd like to see how high up we can get. So we've
Yeah,
got to beat
for sure.
245 now. Let's see.
That's
It's
awesome.
exciting. It's exciting.
fantastic. Awesome.
On top of that, Epic Geeks website is now back up and running. It's the old address, epicgeeks.co.uk. You can join up as a member and leave messages for us, Geeks of Nexus, in the forums as well. So go along and have a look at that and see all the exciting new things that's happening over on Epic Geeks. And the last shout out before we start is the fact that we have some Fancy Pants codes to give away. We've still got a few hanging around for the NA and the EU, so there's a little bit of a teaser. At the end of the podcast, we'll tell you how you can have a chance of winning a Fancy Pants code. That's to try and keep you listening to the whole show, or maybe we'll just skip ahead and get to the end. So we'll see what works.
Just hide it somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be there somewhere.
It's the carrot on the stick. Come on, keep watching.
Carrot on the stick. So next up is the news.
Hey, paper, read all about it. Hey, grown-up, hey, big bouncer, eat some of this news over here. Hey, chewer, this broadsheet's bigger than you. Hey, come on, guys, it's only 60 gold. Get back here.
News of the week.
So on the 9th of October, a meerkat from Carbine posted a little thing about runes. Now, runes have had a big change up, haven't they, over the free-to-play change. Jazzy, I know, has got some things she wants to say about this. People have spent hours trying to work out how to re-ruin their characters, and I'm sure new players have, they've probably got a little bit of an easier time because they don't know what happened previously.
No, it's actually harder for them. They're so hard to get certain pieces of them, and they're so expensive, and you can mess it up so easily now. It's
I think that's what they're addressing. That's what they're addressing. They've heard people because, especially getting the sort of higher end runes and just getting the pieces to make them now has become a little bit too difficult. So Carbine have listened to everyone's feedback. So Meerkat said on the 9th of October, just wanted to pop in and give a quick update. We've heard your feedback and we plan to make the following adjustments soon. That's soon TM, I think, in the old Blizzard fashion. Removing runes.
Please no.
Yeah. Removing runes through destroy button will no longer cost gold. Thank the Lord.
Ooh.
Gold cost for re-rolling runes will be reduced at all levels and rarities. We are adding a method to extract runes from the from an item with gold, and this is going to be going up on the PTR soon, which is something I think they needed, didn't they? You put all this time and effort to make a rune, and then you end up having to destroy it if.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. If you mess it up, you're kind of SOL.
So
bad.
So that's a good change. I like that one. Adjustments to repair costs to smooth it out and lessen the burden throughout the gear progression, particularly in the vet dungeons and genetic archive range, and lowering the cost to use common, uncommon, and rare dies. Adjustments to rune fragment drop rates to increase the acquisition rates. So I think that's something else you were alluding to, Jazzy. And the addition of a vendor that allows you to trade in lower tier rune fragments to gain higher tier rune fragments. This will go on the PTR before going live. Thanks again,
That one I'm
everyone,
really
for the
happy about.
feedback. So, Jazzy, you've obviously got a lot to talk about runes, so why don't I just let you run free with this one?
Well, a couple of things.
Go,
like I was
go.
saying, that, you know, obviously, yeah, they were expensive. And with the whole new system, obviously, nobody knows how to use it. You know, some people got on the PTR and did some stuff with it, but nobody went that in depth. So there's no guides. There's nothing you can read. You kind of just have to wing it. Now, us being like veteran players, we have some idea of how they work. But I've even heard a lot of veteran players go like, oh God, I messed it up. And we got all these tokens to try and like ease the curve, but then you just blow through them because you mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then to get more, you literally had to go like grind mobs. Like the pieces for the new ones dropped so infrequently. It was ridiculous. You might as well have been grinding out like the rare drop amp upgrades for how often they dropped. It was insane.
And
So-
things like runes should be a lot more easily obtainable.
Yeah,
shouldn't they?
absolutely. And then them adding a vendor, that was the other thing too that I noticed, like from the discoveries, and there was one other thing, leveling a new character since the free to play. I've gotten a ton of the lower level runes. Now I know that they made it so it's a little easier to use runes as you're leveling, but you're still probably not going to, not really like you would at endgame, because you're just going to get rid of gear so quick. But the ability to trade in the lower tier rune fragments for higher ones, I really like that. And I really think that'll be helpful as well.
Well, you're not just junking them anymore, are you? Or
Yeah.
at least they're going to be useful for something. Because I
Yeah,
think I've still got
absolutely.
loads. I'm one of those people, I did this in WoW as well, where I keep things because they might be useful later on at some point.
Yeah.
So my bank is always full
Yes.
of stuff like that. So that will come
And then
handy.
when you're talking about the cost of repairing and dyes and stuff, I feel like this was an issue at launch. I feel like this was something that they already made a pass at one time. That one I'm kind of like iffy on. I feel like people, I mean, it could be expensive. I've been playing for a while, so obviously I have a decent amount of plat, but I feel like it's more of an issue of people just don't have money.
Yeah.
And things like, okay, like the repair cost, maybe that could be smoothed out a little bit. But dyes and stuff like that, costumes and things like that, feel like a luxury at more endgame to me.
Yeah, I have to say, when I read that, I didn't know that particular thing was a problem.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever actually noticed. I've never looked at how much it actually costs. I've just kind of gone, yeah, press the button.
But I mean,
Press
I
the
think
button.
that's a perspective thing, like I said,
Yeah.
because we've been playing, so we have money and it's just like, meh, it's like 50 gold and we don't care, you know, even for expensive things. But to a new player, that could be like all they have is 50 gold.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, Aka, I suppose you're leveling a lower character at the moment. Have you had any issues with this sort of lower down with your young Draken?
Yeah, I was just kind of confused because it was funny, right? Because on the Crimson Isle, that's it. When you choose that one in the very beginning, like one of the very first quests, they say like, "Oh, hello, would you like to see a rune?" It's like, "Yes," and so I click it, and then it's like, I have a rune, and there's like nothing else. It doesn't tell me how the heck to actually use this.
Yeah, and it always gives you the rune
Thing.
of grit, doesn't it? It's always the grit
yeah,
one.
a health one.
Yeah, and well, and like I was like trying to like click this thing like both kinds of clicking and like and then trying to move it over and stuff. I was like, what the heck is it? How am I supposed to do this? So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go kill more things. It's kind of like a
That is their perfect opportunity to explain runes, isn't it? That
Yeah,
quest at
that's-
level, what is it, level 5 or something, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's pretty early.
Yeah, like they could definitely use like a little more instruction on exactly like, and instead of saying, "Oh, would you like to know what runes?" Yeah, I have one. I'm not gonna tell you what the heck it is and how to use it and how to apply it. And it's like kind of like, well, it'd be kind of nice because otherwise it's just sitting in my bank and I'm going like, well, what the hell do I use this for? Yeah, so like like a little more because like I am like a bit like a little bit exemplary of like brand new players coming. Although I've been following Wildstar since it released and when it was developing, but again, I'm like lore focused, so I'm mostly just focusing on those parts of the game for the most part. Other things are very temporal for me. They're always in flux anyway, so I usually don't play too much, and I'm also horrible at making countless alts, so I never get a bloody character to max level. And you know the thing is, when I jumped on the free to play, I thought, okay, I've got 2 character slots. This will force me to have only 2 characters, and then I'm bound to get one of them up to level 50 because like that'll make sure that I don't make endless armies of like alts. But then I realized because I've played Wildstar throughout since launch, I've got all these points, and I actually have, I think, at least like 6 more slots. So I like started to like make a couple more. I was like, oh crap, oh god, I gotta stop doing this.
You've got alcoholicitis like I have.
I do. Yeah. It's horrible, isn't it?
I
gotta focus on my space lizard. Focus on.
Do you know what I spent the last few days doing? When I have any spare moment, I made sure I maxed out my my character slot, so I had 12 characters on.
Oh goodness! And
I've just gone over to the second server, and I'm now building up my army of alts.
Oh my god!
So that I can have my 24 character slots.
And for me, I was like that in WoW, but for some reason in Wildstar, I'm not. Like I'm able to. I only have 250s, and I've been playing, like I said, for a little over a year now, year and a half, and that's it. 250s.
You contain yourself. You're doing very well. Congratulations.
I envy you, Jazzy.
I'll probably end up with one of each class, but then I'll be done.
Yeah, well, see, now I've got one of each class, so now I'm doing one of each class on each faction and with each.
Oh wow!
It's scary. Okay. Anyway, on that, moving on. Moving on swiftly. So, also some exciting news. We've spoken about on previous podcasts that they are bringing out these new event weekends. And the first one has now been announced. It's going to be Power, Prestige, and PvP. The 3 Ps, 4 Ps. There's 4 Ps in that. So double Prestige bonus is incoming for October the 15th to the 18th, which is something that other MMOs have done. And I think it's a very good thing for Wildstar to implement, especially bringing in PvP first, because that's something I think they want to get people into.
Right.
And with all the new players sort of coming up, giving them this double prestige will give them a chance to maybe gear up a little bit so they can start competing with the more veteran players. Do either of you PvP?
No.
I don't either. I'd love to PvP, but I'm always really bad at it. Like when I started Wildstar, I was playing Willatiki Temple till, all day long.
I started on the PvP server because I did world PvP when I came from WoW into Wildstar, but Wildstar quickly made me hate world PvP. I couldn't get anything done. But for me, I mean, I'm not opposed to PvP, but the biggest reason I've been waiting is because I know it's kind of been one of those ongoing issues for them for a long time. So I think I've kind of been waiting until things have kind of smoothed out. So I'll probably give it a shot. I mean, this weekend actually will probably make me do that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Maybe now is the time to jump in and, give it a go. So for those of you that don't know about Wildstar and PvP, well, PvP and Wildstar even, if I get my words the right way around, or if you're a new player and you want to know a little bit more about it, Prestige is Wildstar's PvP currency, which caps at 5,000 points, so you go and spend some. And you can spend your hard-fought points in the faction capitals. If you go along to the little PvP areas, you've got characters there, which I can't speak now. There, it's all got into my head. It's because I'm drinking Old Speckled Hen. That's what that is. There are vendors in the capital cities where you can buy your PvP gear in Thade and Ilium. So gear up and go kick some ass is what I've put down here. If you're new to PvP and Wildstar, you can queue for battlegrounds from level 6 through the content finder, which you can find by pressing N or looking through your menu. And from level 30 you can start an arena team in practice matches and ranked matches at level 50. And of course, if you are one of those brave people, which I am not, on a PvP server, you can do world PvP, which just scares the living daylights out of me.
Wildstar quickly made me not like world PvP. I even transferred all my characters in WoW from PvP servers to normal ones after playing Wildstar.
I can see why people do enjoy it, but no.
No. I'm definitely a PvE Care Bear now.
Yes. So that's going to be it. October the 15th to the 18th. Get your PvP on. Go and earn your double prestige, and go kick some ass. That's all I have to say about that, really. Can't say any more. I'm excited for the next weekend to see what that's going to be. My guess is going to be double XP.
Alt time.
Alt time, exactly.
The alt time.
Get your alts on.
The alt
Buy
weekend.
some of those XP pots from the cash shop.
Save
Then
them up.
have your ones from your 2-factor authenticator, and just stack it all together and get 50 in like 2 days.
Perfect. See, don't even you can sleep as well because you'll have so much sort of XP bonuses that you won't have to be doing it 24/7.
Exactly.
That sounds like a plan to me. I'll have all my 24 alts or 20 alts on to level 50 by then. I won't.
2,000 alts. My
Man.
Something else I wanted to bring up quickly, which is something that my guild discovered was still an issue last night. We were going around doing some of the world bosses.
Yeah.
Those token drops, by the way, to summon the world bosses drop way too slowly.
Mm-hmm.
We were in a group of 20 and we were killing the mobs to try and get the tokens, and we had to get 75 and we had 2 drop in like 20 minutes, half an hour or something, and we were like...
That's what I've heard. It takes about an hour with a decent-sized group to get them.
Yeah, you must need to have like 40-odd people, I'd imagine. But it would seem to be, well, where we were, they were not...
And that's the funny thing, because they've said that those the world bosses scale now, so it can be 10 plus, but it takes that long to get the drops,
Exactly.
yeah.
So we decided to just like collect our own, and then when we've got enough, we'll come back and do something. I don't know.
Might be something else I need to look at.
Yeah, hopefully they'll do something else about that. But the other thing was, there was someone in global chat said that one of the other world bosses was up, and some of us couldn't see him. So we were like, he's not here. Well, I can't see him. And then some of us could see him, and it was the phasing. And I think that's in there to try and cope with a lot of the lag issues and stuff.
Yeah.
So we all had to join the party of the guy that could see the world boss, and then we had to do the command, which was /p go to, which allows you to go to the same phase as your party. So if anybody has that issue out there, if you're playing with a friend or you're teaming up and you can't see the same mobs that they can see, just do the command /p go to, and you'll be able to sync to your party so that you're in the same phasing, which might be more of an issue at the moment, probably because of all the extra things they've put in place to try and help with the lag and things like that. I don't know
That's
if
the mega server at work.
Exactly. So good old mega servers doing their thing. Has anybody else got anything to say about the news or anything we've spoken about so far before we go on to our wonderful lore segment?
No.
No, that's it. You'll like this week again, Aka. Last week we had Conquest of the Draken Part 1, and this week is Conquest of the Draken Part 2, The Search for Perfect Killers, which explains what happened last week, which is a bit confusing, but that's how way they got it on the website. So, enjoy. Conquest of the Draken Part 2, The Search for Perfect Killers. Despite their unbroken run of military victories in the 3 centuries since the Dominion's founding, the Makari determined a need for new blood. While tactically ingenious, the Cassians lacked a certain zeal for carnage that the Makari's most recent battle metrics unanimously agreed would efficiently bring upstart races to heel. Shock troops of a more savage aspect were required. After meticulously studying thousands of species to analyse their combat effectiveness, the Makari had advised Azrion, the reigning Lumini Emperor and son of Dominus the Half-Blood, that the savage Draken of the volcanic planet Mikros would be ideal. But the loyalty of these ferocious hunters could not be won through parley. The Makari disliked leaving critical matters to chance. Prior to landing on Mikros in 344 AE, they had extensively studied and simulated the most probable fighting styles of the High Clan Lord. Exhaustively, they analysed his techniques, his tendency to go for the carotid, his signature hamstring, and his insatiable fondness for decapitations. Then they devoted their arts to probing them for weaknesses and designing countermeasures. They isolated his vulnerabilities. The decades-old ankle injury that had never healed, his mortal dread of infection, and the brittle base of his left horn. Then, they systematically devised methods of exploiting them. Azrion had been bred and trained his whole life for this bout. Races with a culture based around honour, the Makari had instructed them, were predictable prey, easy to manipulate. But the more Azrion studied Zur, the more convinced he became that the Makari were wrong. He improvised. He adapted. He used cunning when least expected and retaliated with reserves undreamed of. He was a perfect fighter. And the Makari, for all their own perfection, were unable to see it. Without fail, Azrion told them what they wanted to hear. But inwardly, he vowed that this would be a fair contest, free of persiflage. His only hope in defeating Draken Honor was not to disdain it, but adopt it, and become its master. Within hours of the Cassian's arrival, the pair reached the sacred dueling ground just outside the Draken capital of Red River. There, they would decide by blood the fate of 2 empires and thousands of worlds. Ta-da! That's the lore segment.
That was super lore-filled.
Yep.
I learned so much.
She doesn't sound enthusiastic because she hasn't heard it yet.
I learned so many things.
So the Casual Friday update. I don't know if either of you had a chance to catch up with the Casual Friday stream. It's only just gone up on YouTube, but it was obviously live on Wildstar's Twitch channel on Friday. Did either of you catch it?
No.
I'm going to catch it in the future because I always forget when streams are on, or I always miss streams, and I was like, God damn it! I'll go down and be like, hey, where's Twitch, whatever, and I look at when it was posted, and it says like 4 hours ago or 6 hours ago. I'm like, jeez.
I always miss the Friday one for some reason.
I'm always late.
To be honest, there wasn't an awful lot of news that came out of it. It was quite interesting to watch. We had Chad Moore, the creative director, on there. Mick Whipple, the senior content manager, of course, come over from WoW, and Chris,
cool.
good old Bashiok, yeah. Chris Thomas, the lead software engineer, was on there for like 5 minutes because he looked rather stressed, if I'm honest. And he was like, I've got loads of work to do, so I'm coming to explain a few things, and then I'm gone. But they were joined a little bit later on by Jeff Kurtanaka, the music guy, the guy who's made the awesome soundtrack in Wildstar. So it's well worth a watch. Chad Moore is off playing, showing some of the gameplay in Wildstar, which is pretty much what the whole stream was about while they chatted about stuff. But Chris Thomas basically came on and said, don't worry, we're getting there, it's nearly all sorted. I'm hearing that the lag problems are all kind of ironing themselves out, and they are. The last few days I've played, I haven't had a queue, and I haven't had any lag. A touch wood.
We've had a little bit on the NA server the last couple days, a little bit of combat lag, but it's not nearly as bad as it was. So it's getting there, though.
And, it's still early doors, but considering how bad it was last week, it's a lot better. And they were asked the question, when will the 2 servers be merged? And they wouldn't give us an answer.
Already?
Again, it was I know they're already asking, when? We will give everybody notice of when it will happen, but obviously not yet. Maybe soon. So there, go and watch the. It is up on YouTube now, the Casual Friday stream, because I saw a little notification come on my phone earlier that Wildstar have uploaded a video. So go and look.
Cool.
So on to the community news. This is our favourite bit, isn't it?
Indeed.
So the first one I wanted to bring up was Jabbithole. Jabbithole is a database website, a little bit like Wowhead, for those of you who know Wowhead, over in WoW. And the guy who runs it has put up a little advert on Reddit saying, amazing site, Wowhead style, there's so much potential but needs people willing to update via automated client. So what he's asking for is the community's help to help build up the database, because it's a lot of work for one guy to do on his own.
Yeah.
He has done very, very well so far. For those of you that haven't seen Jabbithole, it is an amazing resource for players.
Awesome.
And
it is just the one guy.
It is
It's
just
incredible
the one
what he's
guy
done.
doing it all on his own.
Yeah.
So go and help him out. If you go on to Reddit or just search...
Has he
Reddit,
updated the
Jabbithole.
add-on? Because I know the add-on wasn't working with the newest drop. I think that was a little bit of issue.
I believe he has. I was just trying to look down here now, because this post was only put up 1 day ago with the client. So let's just have a little click on here now.
Yeah, because it would definitely benefit the community. And I think the other thing that people need to do when they do use Jabbithole is to comment, because a lot of that stuff is actually fleshed out via comments and helping each other out. So
yeah, it's a bit like the like all the MMO websites, isn't it? You need to go along and help people to explain where things are. So he might have a link to an achievement, but then, you know, if we go on there and then say, well, this is where you'll find it, or just give people little hints if you've managed to go and complete it, then that helps the sort of future player base. So go along to Jabbithole and comment and help with the add-on. And I think there's a link on the website as well.
Yeah.
To the add-on. So go help. That's that. Jabbithole.
Cool.
Yay. And Justinia has got a new video up called The Insane Maze, which is rather insane.
Yes.
If either of you had a chance to have a look at this video.
Yeah.
It's
It's the glass maze, right?
that's the one. I have no idea again how this guy did it or had the time. I think it would drive me mad.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure Justinia didn't go mad while he was doing it. Like, the video is 5 minutes 54 long, and he sped it up as well. So that was sped up. And he's just wandering around this glass maze, looking completely and utterly
People are so
lost.
creative with this housing stuff. It just boggles my mind.
And I've seen some already with the new plots. People have already created some amazing things. I'm like, have you had the time? It's only been up like a couple of weeks.
A
and
week.
You've already created these cities full in your plot. It's I've kind of looked at my plot and gone, right, I'm going to do an Elden themed plot. That's my idea. I've got this idea. I've bought everything I need to do, but I just keep kind of looking at it going, I just don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. I can even start crying just thinking about it. Oh, but housing is mad. But yeah, this maze, if you go along to Justinia's channel, it's his latest video that is put up. It's called Wildstar Housing, The Insane Maze. Well, you can watch Justinia batting his head against a glass panel several times, trying to find his way around the insane maze. So we like that. And next, Jazzy, gonna hand it over to you because you have a new website coming up, don't you, with the lovely Clover?
We do. So basically what we're building is a website for collections. So that's things like the obvious things, mounts, dies, pets, things like that. Those are the big things we're trying to get in. It is taking a little while because we're doing it all by hand. So we're manually putting in every single die, pet, mount. And what we're expanding to in the future is toys, achievements, data cubes, and tails. So we've got a lot going.
An awful lot of work.
It's going to be a site that's going to tell you where that stuff is. We actually link back to Jabbithole quite a bit. So again, helping Jabbithole helps us. So yeah, we link to a lot of like where NPCs are for certain mounts or things like that. So yeah, we're going to tell you where it is, how to get it. We're going to expand to some guides. We also have weekly roundups, kind of in the same vein of what Wildstar Core did. We have one that we put up recently that was for blogs. which is a really nice thing. You don't see a lot of Wildstar blogs featured in a lot of places. So we're doing that. And then we're going to expand to other guides, you know, like how-to things on achievements or whatever have you. So it'll be a nice little central place for people to get all the information they need for anything you collect in Wildstar.
It's exciting. I don't know where you're going to find the time, though. It's like...
We've been working on it steadily. And we're trying to we've got a couple other people we're trying to recruit in to help with some stuff. So, but it's going to be Wildstar Data Cube, all one word, .com.
Wildstar Data Cube. Cool.
Awesome. Awesome. That's exciting. And people love their little collections, don't they? If you get a website up, and once you've done the hard work, like I said to you the other day, so it'd just be a case of just adding on the new
things.
stuff. So
Yep.
Once you're there, it'll be fine.
Just got to get it all there first.
Yes. It's something that Wildstar needs. So I'm very excited.
I have to say, as a side note, like, huge shout out to Clover, because she's done like all the layouts, all the like coding, all the like good stuff. Like I help with the information and taking pictures and like media stuff, but she is like insanely good at that. So props to her, because she's done a ton of work.
She's done it all so quickly as well, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's really good at it.
Incredible.
So
well done, Clover. Yay, Clover!
Sounds exciting. Congratulations. Congratulations to both of you. Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you.
And speaking of Wildstar Core, there's a couple new additions up on Wildstar Core. It's wildstar-core.com. We have the add-on of the week by It's TJ, which this week is Corona bags. So if you're going to have a look on there, he's got a video explaining all about Corona bags, all the features and things. So it explains.
Great add-on.
It's a good add-on, and
I use that one.
He explains all the ins and outs of that, so I'm going to have a look at that one. And also, my latest Secrets of Nexus is up, which this week's features the high maintenance construct over at Exosite N22 in Celestion. Have either of you found the high maintenance construct?
No.
Oh, that is one of those little secret ones.
Be fun to check out.
Yeah, have a look at the video. And you'll see. But when you find him and you put him back together, run away fairly quickly, because he does keep talking, as you will see from my video.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Exactly. It's a fun little thing, though. I like those little things in Wildstar. These little secret things you find. They've got nothing to do with the storyline, nothing to do with leveling or anything like that. It's just little things you can find.
I found something like that in Galeris the other day when I was out there looking for costumes and discoveries. There was like a random stem dragon just like laying on a rock. I was like, that's weird. And I moused over it and I could click it. And you click on it and it like makes you like kind of kneel, and then you get an achievement.
Aww.
It's like paying homage to
cool.
something. And then there was a lore book nearby, and I was like, oh, okay, this is like a little mini thing, and that's an exile zone, and I'm Dominion, so I could still do it, which is pretty cool. Like a little secret thing there, secret achievement.
That is cool. Excellent. I have to go and find that one now. That might have to be one of my Secrets of Nexus episodes.
That is kind of like one of the really fun and exciting things about Wildstar, I find, is just because everything, like the IP is so brand new, as opposed to just about every other MMORPG really has some kind of like IP legacy to it, almost all of them. Whereas like Wildstar is just like really brand freaking new. So it's like, here's a planet, it's new. It's like, yeah, we literally don't know anything about this freaking thing, you know? It's like,
yeah,
it's literally
okay,
discovering
cool,
the
man.
Secrets of Nexus. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's like
Exactly.
literally discovering the secrets of Nexus. It's like, well, this is pretty funky, man. Yeah,
And it does feel like we're part of the exploration. That's what I like about it. That's one of the things they've done very well.
Yeah, it does.
To
Yeah.
make you
I
feel
do
part
like
of
not
it.
knowing everything about it,
Yeah,
because it still gives you something to look forward to.
exactly. You learn
Yeah.
along the way. Learn about the lore.
Hey, you've reached Geeks of Nexus. Unfortunately, Twitter's carrier pigeons were lost at Alicia Sea or something, so, leave a message after the tone. Bye.
So on to the tweets of the week. We've had quite a few tweets of the week this week. I think people have been very active on Twitter with all the free-to-play hype, etc., etc. So if you do want to leave us a question on Twitter, use the hashtag AskGON, then we can find it really quickly to stick it here up on the podcast. And the first one, which I guess is aimed sort of more at me and Jazzy, was from Brandon Easel, I think it's Ezil, at Shotgun Tanks. who asked on the 6th of October, how do you guys feel the raid encounters in Wildstar compared to those in WoW? Hashtag AskGON. You do raid in Wildstar, don't you, Jazzy?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I knew you mentioned it the other day. And did you raid in WoW when you played WoW?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I still play WoW.
Yes. See,
Me too.
I did actually. I shouldn't say this on the Wildstar podcast, but I be subbed to WoW last week because Tom persuaded me to. So
Nothing wrong with playing.
There's nothing to be ashamed of.
I just wanted to hop in again and look after and just see how my priest was doing there on her own, sitting there, and my other tunes that I haven't finished leveling up to 100. So I'm just going to have a little bit of a play before the new expansion comes out, etc. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's irrelevant. Jazzy, how do you think the Wildstar raids compare to WoW raids?
Ooh, that's kind of a loaded question.
It is.
Before I answer this, I will say I've never done mythic raiding in WoW. I'm in a guild that does it, but I've never done it personally. I have done heroic raiding in WoW, which I kind of put on the same level as the Wildstar raids. I feel like it's kind of boss dependent. I mean, I don't want to say one's harder than the other or easier than the other. I definitely enjoy Wildstar more because one of my favorite things about Wildstar is its combat.
Yes.
And the active movement and aiming, and that's all a lot more engaging to me. But there are, in WoW, by the same token, some really interesting fights there that they do interesting things with what they have. So, I mean, when people always ask these questions about how do they compare to each other, usually I think they're asking about difficulty. And if I had to pick one, I would say Wildstar is probably a little harder just because you need a little bit more hand-eye coordination to kind of make it happen. And then also because of what we were just talking about, how Wildstar is a lot newer, so there's not as much information about how to do things.
People have got to work it out a lot more on their own, haven't they? You
Yeah,
can't just go and blow out a boss guide.
And I think the other thing, especially people coming from WoW into Wildstar, they're used to kind of just rolling over raids. Like, people will clear a new raid in WoW in like a week and be done. Like, they've finished it completely. Whereas we look at Wildstar and people are still working on clearing it a week later. So, I think that the Wildstar ones are a little more fun as far as the combat. But I think WoW does pretty cool things sometimes with what they have. I guess that's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, that's kind of the view that I have on the two differences, is that mechanically the raids aren't super different. We've still got, the usual things that people put in there, avoid the red stuff, got the add-ons, there are different, techniques and combats you have to use for each boss. The mechanics are different. But it's the combat that makes Wildstar different. That's the thing that I've put on my notes here. The combat changes everything, and it makes the raids feel super fresh and extra fun. And it doesn't matter what role you play in Wildstar. I feel like you still feel like you're part of a team.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think in WoW, if you're a tank or a healer or DPS, you just feel like you're not doing anything in particular. You'll either be doing everything in one boss fight, and then in other boss fights you'll just be sitting there just like twiddling your thumbs. Whereas in Wildstar it's much more of a team effort. Everybody has their part to play in every single boss fight. There's no moment where you can kind of relax and just sit in one spot and just hit buttons.
Yep.
I guess.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? For those of you that don't know about Wildstar raiding, there's two main raids in Wildstar, Genetic Archives and Datascape. And you're locked into a raid ID, a bit like old WoW, which basically means once you've run it once in a week, you can't pug with the same character, because you're locked out to that raid. If you compare that to WoW, they've got the 4 raid tiers now, LFR, so you're looking for raid, normal, heroic and mythic raiding. And I'm the same with you. I've raided heroic, I've never raided mythic raiding. A little bit scary. And I would say that Wildstar raiding is on par with heroic raiding as well. I would put it on there. So, the differences between the two. And what I believe in WoW now, you can, in heroic difficulty, you're not locked out to the raid anymore, are you? You can raid it over and over. Is that right?
You can. The way they have what's called a bonus roll now, you get like tokens that you earn where you can roll for loot again on a boss. You won't get like loot drops off the boss if you kill it again. So if it drops something, you can't take that, but you can use a bonus roll to fight it as many times as you want and roll for more gear.
Okay. Whereas in Mythic, you've still got the lockouts in Mythic.
Yeah. Mythic is the same as it was back in the day, and it's set to 20. And whereas the WoW raids now can be anywhere from 10 to 30, I think it is, under Mythic.
I mean, I'd say it's easier to be a casual raider in WoW than it is in Wildstar.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I think in Wildstar you have to have that little bit more commitment just based on the fact that you probably have to be part of a regular team. It's a lot harder to pug.
You don't even have to have a guild in WoW to be able to experience up to heroic content.
Yeah, exactly. And as I said, I sort of alluded to it a little bit last week, but as a healer in Wildstar, I feel like I'm much more engaged in the combat itself. Whereas in WoW, that's one, and I know that Blizzard have mentioned it before. They want to try and make healing a little bit more engaging for players, because sometimes you feel like you have to stand in one spot and just like watch Grid or Voodoo or whatever you're using.
Spam buttons.
Spam buttons. Whereas in Wildstar, I feel like it's much more engaging for healers specifically. Sorry, Aka, were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna quickly say there's like only so much that like WoW and Blizzard can do to their game, which I know that they're really good, and they said that they could probably keep this engine and tweaking it for like another 10 years and stuff, and that's all well and good, but it is still that same ancient old engine, and there is only so much you can do, whereas like Wildstar is pretty freaking new, and just as you both were saying, like the very grounds up combat of it allows itself to be immensely more flexible through any kind of comment. I mean, I'm absolutely not a raider at all, but I actually love Wildstar because they've very intelligently, and I wish WoW and others would do this more too, was that they've decided to, from the get-go, they said that they put the main narrative of the MMO story arc in these separate solo instances so that anyone can do them, and they're not going to make those like super hard, but if you want the raiding mythical level of harding, you can do that, but that stuff isn't going to have like the real like lore heavy moments, which
see they kind of
really
did that. In WoW, they had it the last expansion with the scenarios, but then they took them out. Yeah. So I don't know why they did that. Because that's exactly what I was thinking too. That those were just like Wildstar's solo player instances, which were nice.
Well, they've like had like this. They experimented with what they called the Garrison campaign, which is really hit and miss.
Yeah, it's like Marvel. Is it you either love it or you hate it? Most people hate it. Yeah, and it's like it
makes gold. That's all it's for.
It's really disappointing. Like it could hopefully they've heard people saying how crappy it was, and that you guys can do better than this, and hopefully they'll realize that is a perfect vehicle to put some actual storyline and not do what they did in WoW, which is really annoying. Is that they've done it not just last one, but for many other ones where it's like on like the mythical difficulty, they actually had a story hook and appearance of one of the main characters in the entire zone that you went through show up only on Mythic. And it's a bit contentious issue, but I'm definitely against that kind of thing, because it's like most raiders typically don't care about the story and why. And I like going back to do old solo raids because I can one-shot things and I can take my time and I can listen to what every dragon and other thing is saying and speaking, and not have people going, go, 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 and like pushing. It's like, I want to listen to that.
It's like, wait a minute, I want to watch the cinematic.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas if people are like, no, go, go, no. And it's like I like at instances where it's like I'm like trying to do the normal raid or whatever, and then like on the second last boss, I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. Okay, cool. And like we're getting to like the story is starting to climax, and then some jerks will like kick me because I guess my gear isn't perfect, and it's like, it's like I'm like. I like can't see the story. Whereas like they don't care. They're just being jerks to get their gear. It's like I love the crappy lore. Like I can't get
to it. The lore.
And see, that's a bit like I hope they never put any kind of like LFR thing into Wildstar. Yeah. I don't see them doing it, but I really hope not. Because I just think it would just kill so many things. Like, I can't even think of how they could make the raids easier without just completely, like, making them not even what they are.
And I think that's one of the issues that WoW's got at the moment, that having that easier level and having it accessible to everyone has actually is meant that people don't have that thing to aim for anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? They just kind of go and do it and think, I've done it now, so what's the point of me playing anymore? And I do really think that's why a lot of people have left WoW. I think it just takes away that little bit of mysticness from the raiding, doesn't it?
Yep.
Anyway,
Well,
it's still doing well with the engine it's done. We love WoW as well. We're not bashing it. We're just comparing it before we get lots of hate mail.
Like I said, I play
like-
both, so obviously I like
same
something.
here. And because that's the thing that I found kind of funny about it was that the garrisons weren't done brilliantly, but for me as a solo antisocial person, that's kind of like I'm quite happy with it.
You're quite happy sitting in your garrison hiding away.
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy. It's like, cool, I got my little garrison, I've got like characters bowing to me and moving around. I like this because I'm into roleplay and like lore, and so I've got my weekly little story quests, and I got my fun little grinding quests, and I'm fine with it. And I had no interest at all doing the raids, whereas everyone else is like, raid. And unfortunately, Blizz devs are like, oh, we gotta get these big raids. It's the only thing anyone cares about. Raids. And it's like, they're like trying to like fit everyone into the raids. And it's like, but not everyone wants to. So Wildstar, I love them for this. Like Carbon was like, well, we have a little bit of sensibility on this, and all of you geeky lore nerds like Akasaurusto doesn't want to do raiding. So here you go. Story instances. It's like, yay!
But you said you like role playing. Were you sitting in your garrison ordering your people about? Were you like pointing and go, you go over there, you go over there, you bow to me? I'd love to. That would have been so funny as a video.
In my head, probably, yeah. Because like I've like got like I got the Worgen racial guards, and like they do a wonderful bow whenever they come to us this big like what to do, my lady, kind of my daughter. I'm like over there, and just like I'm totally in on all that stuff. So like everyone's like, I hate my thing, blah blah. I'm like, I'm having like
moving swiftly on. I can see it's going. You're thinking far too much about this now.
Yeah, apologies for that. Yeah.
Another tweet that we had was from our lovely Jason Vincent Scrappy Jack. He hopped over onto the EU server. He's one of our EU fans. He hopped over onto the EU server, and he just dropped a tweet saying, "Thought I would drop over to Jabbit and say hello. What do you think of my level 3 SS Bubba Jack?" And he gave us a little video of his new little character on the EU. So I sent him a friend request. When you're next over on the EU, Scrappy, accept my friend's request. You go and play some stuff. I do like that about the free to play now with the zone unlocking. It's nifty. I like that. So I did put out a Geeks of Nexus question for everybody. What has been your favourite / worst experience since Wildstar Reloaded went live? And the answers we got back was, we had one from Chronic Gamby, who said the best was levelling Dungeon Q popping at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't think it's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
And the worst was the loot lag, which I think we can all agree on that one there. Byron Grierson, at Byron S, I think it is, Byron SS.
I love him.
Yes.
He watches my stuff a lot.
So there you go. A Jazzy fan. He'll be glad you're on here then, you see.
Hello.
Byron SS, he said them restarting the server when I was nearly finished with Journey into Omnicore.
Oh.
Which is not nice.
Yeah.
I do sympathise. It's not like the quickest of instances either.
Yeah. Oh man. I'd probably be like,
no. You could have waited another 10 minutes. It's now gone. So I hope you finished it now, anyway, without them shutting the server down on you. And Scrappy Jack again. He answered his favourite thing is zone chat, glad to help people, having a hard time with the jerks, but getting better. So,
nice. Just keep fighting the jerks,
yeah,
man.
exactly, fight the jerks.
That's the slogan for all MMOs. Guys, just keep fighting the douchebags. Just keep going.
If you all gang up on them, eventually they shut up.
don't feed the trolls.
Yes. Exactly.
Kill them with kindness.
Exactly.
Like all the whining and minging, just keep going. I'm loving it. I'm having fun.
I'm sorry you're upset. I'll give you a hug. They don't know how to answer that. They don't know how to answer that.
Garrisons are fun.
Another thing to say is, I don't know if you guys listen to Convert's Raid or Scott Johnson's podcast. I think he comes up on there as well. But they allude to a guy called Douchebag Carl, who's the guy that always turns up sort of in your instance and moans about everything and just makes...
There's a lot of
there's a lot of them. So I quite often just like to put a little mention of, oh, Douchebag Carl's turned up. And that often just shuts them up. You don't hear anything else after that. It's quite nice. Douchebag Carl. Bless him. So the last one was from Brandon Easel at Shotgun Tanks, who said getting to experience all the new players, and I have to say that has probably been my favourite thing about Wildstar Reloaded as well, seeing all the zones. When I was starting all my gazillion ults the other day, I was amazed at how many people I saw in the starter zones. Probably do the same thing I was doing, but that was fun. Jazzy, what's been your favourite thing about Wildstar Reloaded?
I mean, probably the same thing, seeing lots of new faces, and actually I've been really, really happy seeing people helping people. That's been really made me smile, made my little Chua heart quite warm.
Exactly. Be nice to people. If you help them, they'll stay.
Meeting new people and getting to answer people's questions and stuff like that has been a lot of fun. And then on the opposite end, the worst part, obviously the lag sucked for everyone, but people being trolly and stupid, and the one other thing I will say, I hate Reddit the last 2 weeks.
Reddit, I've tried to avoid it a little bit.
It's like, it's like all these people, it's crazy. It's all these people asking for like changes that are like either stupid or just like, people are like, there's not enough in the cash shop. I'm like, you realize it's been out for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Like,
how much money have you got to burn if you want to ask for more stuff in the cash shop?
Have you bought everything? Like, they said they're going to add stuff every week or two. Like, what more do you want? Do you want raids or do you want more stuff in your cash shop?
And so far they have added something every week. It's only been 2 weeks and they added new stuff. So.
But I mean, I see that, and then it's just people like, there was one I saw that kind of made me laugh, and they're like, we shouldn't have factions in MMOs. I'm like, what?
What?
Just like,
fun, man.
Mind blown. Like, have you played an RPG or an MMO? You know how this works.
It's a conflict that drives people. That's what keeps people engaged and interested.
Yeah, I don't. But yeah, other than that, I've thoroughly enjoyed it though. Overall, I've been very happy seeing all the people and everyone helping each other is real nice. So.
Yay! Aka, what's been your worst and best moments?
Well, you'll probably get this, but I love how we can run with us.
Yes!
Running! Jazzy, I was, my thing there was just that I've like shown Dre and everyone else I could this modification to the free-to-play trailer for Reloaded that I did with a song I really love from the 80s. It's you may have seen this. Yeah, do you remember that show? It's a cartoon, the Raccoons.
No.
You're not geeky enough.
I didn't become a geek until later in life. I'm sorry.
I was born weird. Yay.
I have to say, I have a bone to pick with you, Aka, because I've had that song stuck in my head ever since. I have to keep playing it on my iPod. Yes.
I'm evil. Yay. It's a wonderful song to get stuck in your head. But like, yeah, I love the running. I really do. Like whenever I've played WoW or any other MMO, I always want to find permanent speed boosts for any character I have. And so having it default running like that, and especially with Draken with their wonderful scaly iguana-like tails flipping around, it's so much fun. It's just like I'm zipping around. It's like, this is so much fun. I just love running around. Or like when I'm on my like Velocirex mounts, I love Velocirex mounts. And I love the updates to the quest flow, to the zones, which I've noticed and appreciated a lot. That the quest flow directions is much cleaner. They've shaven a lot of unnecessary fat and whatnot. It's just much more easier to go through, especially if you have alts. And I'm sure someone like you, Draycass, with tons of alts appreciates it as well. Yep. So, you know, you can just like go boom, like speed right through it. And I'm also appreciating too, along with that, is the way that the gear got a great big improvement, so that whenever the quest rewards now are rewarding you with gear that's actually relevant to you, as opposed to like selecting like from all three types. It's just, it's actually giving you the gear type that you need for the most part, and I really appreciate that as well.
Yeah, the leveling experience has been made much nicer, isn't it? And shinier.
Absolutely.
So that's been it. That's Geeks of Nexus. So we now go into our lovely outro. Whee! And the promise of a Fancy Pants code. I haven't forgotten. Now, for those of you that skipped ahead and didn't bother listening to the podcast, just wanted to get to the end, I have a question about something that happened in the middle of the podcast that you have to... No, I don't really. I don't.
Why don't you? Make it hard. Make them work for
That's
it.
what I should have done. So, if you want a chance to win a Fancy Pants code, you've got 2 chances. The first one is if you send us a question on Twitter using the hashtag AskGON, and also just pop in there whether you're EU or NA, so that I know if you're one of the winners, which code to send you. So ask us a question on Twitter, hashtag AskGON, that will give you a chance to win a Fancy Pants code. Or go to the Epic Geeks' new website, epicgeeks.co.uk, register on there and pop us a question on our forums. If you go along to the forums, you'll see that Geeks of Nexus has got their own little section. Ask us a question in there, again stating whether you're EU or NA. You'll have a chance to win a Fancy Pants code. So there you go. That's it. We have been Geeks of Nexus. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jazzy and Akasaurusto Rex, for joining me in today's show. It has been a wonderful, wonderful time and pleasure.
You're very welcome.
You can find us on Twitter at Geeks of Nexus. You can email us geeksofnexus@gmail.com. And Jazzy, where can we find you on the interwebs?
I'm on Twitter at Jazzy_gaming.
Yay, and Aka, where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter, Akasaurusto Rex, although I've changed it to Spookasaurus Rex for now, for the month.
Okay, nice. Nice Halloween reference. Yeah, like that a lot. And you can find me at Draycass. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next week. Bye!
See ya!
The gummy bear.
This podcast is part of the Epic Geeks network. To find out more about our other gaming podcasts, head to epicgeeks.co.uk.